y'all, and welcome to another episode of Worldly Church Girl. It's your girl, your host, Lillian Harshaw. On today's show, I have a pastor, author, and advocate who's taken his failures, betrayals, and his mistakes to motivate his community. It gives me honor to introduce to you Pastor Matthew E. Bradby.
Are you at work or you in your office at home?
I'm in my office at home. I'm blessed to be self-employed, entrepreneur, and even when I'm asleep, I'm making a couple of dollars. So I thank the Lord.
Come on now, won't he do it? Well, I'm so glad that you are here today, and thank you so much for saying yes. And you really didn't hesitate, really. Which I'm really thankful and grateful for that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We're gonna dive in. You have a pretty long resume, if you will. So
I can break it down for you. I can tell you, look, born and raised in Baltimore, drug dealer in a drug gang, raised right, decided to go wrong, prodigal son, went through I OD'd, heard God's voice, said, God, can you help me? He said, yeah, but you got to make a choice. Made that choice, started worshiping God, military, divorced multiple times. I've been through the gauntlet in life. And in a nutshell, if there was a scripture to ever voice who I am, it would be, I would say, it was good that I was afflicted, because in my pain, I was able to help so many as a leader. One of the problems we got so many leaders, and they are phenomenal men and women of God, but they ain't been there. So it's not, you can tell me that God is good, but when I can show you what he's done for me. So we've been through everything from bad relationships. My son was abducted, lost jobs. Yeah, we've been through it. And then my wife says, our moniker right now is still standing.
And you know what? I'm glad you even said that, because there are some people who've been saved, quote unquote, all their life. Mm-hmm. And then they'll tell you the world ain't got nothing out there for you. But it's like, you never really experienced the world. So how can you even preach on that? And I understand you can from your perspective, but for someone who's fresh walking in the door from the streets, they're going to be like, well, how do you know that the world ain't got anything out there? Because the world got everything out there. That's why everybody want to stay out there.
Well, one of the things I talk to ministers, and oftentimes I've been blessed in over 20-something years to be able to help ministers and help them when they, have marital infidelities and issues with character, because they haven't been exposed to it. And I was out there, and I wasn't Nino Brown, but I sold enough drugs to always keep $5-6 grand in my pocket. When they haven't had that exposure, the enemy knows what you like. And in due season, when you get to that high plateau, he's going to bring what it like. And a lot of people who never had fame, a lot of people who never been in the to-do, that pressure hits them, and the enemy knows exactly how to hit you, because he's not going to send you what you don't want. He's going to send you exactly what you want. The counterfeit always comes before the promise. And because I've been there, done that, I have falls. I said, I got the fall, I got the t-shirt, and I've been redeemed. I'm able to talk to them one-on-one, non-judgmental, because I've done it, from drugs to robberies and all kinds of stuff, where I'm not pressed with somebody telling me why I cheated on my wife. No, I never cheated on my wife, but, again, my sins are no better than yours,
Right.
And my job, the Bible says, don't, it's not about gossiping about somebody falling. It says those who are strong restore them. And my job is restoration, and it's a process. So, I'm blessed to be able to help people to fall, get back up.
Speaking of your childhood and growing up, you come from a long line of ministers and men and women in the ministry. What was your childhood like growing up as a PK?
The funny thing is, like my mom didn't get into ministry really until like 88, 89. But growing up, I had an aunt Ann, and she was a minister, and her husband I used to hang with her, so I would go to her pastor's house, and I'd be snooping, playing with my toys, but hearing. And he was a great inspiration. Her pastor, Bishop Leonard, he taught me how to pray. He let me pray in the church at a young age, 4 or 5 years old. He trained me up in the way I should go. So I was always around ministers, but I was allowed to live a life. It wasn't like, we were stuck with going to church, and this, and this, and so stringent. We were allowed to watch movies, listen to music, do the Michael Jackson when the company come over and all that stuff like that. So I don't have
Mm-hmm.
them horror stories where the family was just locked in. We went to church. We loved church. We respected God. We tithed. We did offerings, but we lived. So growing up in East Baltimore, man, was great because all my friends and family, a lot of people went to the same church, and it was cool. It was cool. I was raised the right way. I knew the Ten Commandments before I was 6. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I could recite the Lord's Prayer before I was 7. Vacation
Mm-hmm.
Bible School taught me the model prayer for God to love the world. So I knew those things. I knew I
Right.
wanted to be a minister, but I had church hurt at that age because people was telling me what I couldn't do. And I was blessed with this tenacious attitude that if you tell me I can't do something, I'm gonna prove you wrong. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
prove you wrong. I ain't gonna get the homeboy hookup. So growing up in ministry, it wasn't until my middle teen, 15, 16, where we had church hurt, when one of the preferred kids was picking on my brother, and I remember my mother told me, if it happens, I'm supposed to put my hands on somebody and she'll deal with it later. So I did that, and the church mad and busted up. Didn't realize he was picking on my brother, so we left the church, and I made a statement. I said, "Man, I'm gonna go out. I'm going out since y'all won't allow me to church. I'm gonna go out the world, become the biggest drug dealer I can, and y'all gonna be sorry y'all let me go." And be careful what you say out of your mouth, because I was like
Right.
bad. So, and that led to me running to some guys, and they showing me how to fix stuff and how to cook up cocaine and stuff at a 15-year old. And I just started going for what I know. I had
Mm-hmm.
a gift. I had the gift to attract people, but that was for the Satan will corrupt that thing that God meant for good. So I was out there just attracting folks. I went into the military, came home years later. I sold drugs throughout my high school years because my mom and them wasn't into the fashion. They say you go to school for education, not for fashion. But people
Right.
don't understand that being a social outcast can destroy a person's psyche, and their persona. So you can't go to school and try to be it's not like you're trying to be with the in crowd, but you don't want to go there as a misfit in the target of other children. So
Right.
I would walk out. My mother would shop. We would shop out at Epstein. I'm like, ugh. The mannequin had a plaid shirt and some jeans was called Uncle
Yeah.
Sally's. We went to Favor and what the Olympians when everybody wear Nikes and Adidas. So as soon as I got to school, I changed up out of that crap and put
I
my
know that's
Adidas.
right. Trying to
So
fit in.
you don't know. I mean, at least look normal so people leave you
Right.
alone, because kids are cruel, and we
Yeah.
as adults gotta understand. We can say whatever we want, but our children, we can't put targets on their back when you send them to school. So once I got out of school, I went to the military, came home with all these, yeah, I'm gonna get this, and this, and then I ran into reality was, there wasn't nothing. I thought I would come home and get a great job. It didn't happen. I was working a job selling vacuum cleaners door to door, making a lot of money for my boss, and one of my best friends slept with my girlfriend, heartbroken, and I thought the boss was stuck up for me, but he told me to get out of his office. And it was a pivotal time in my life. I was crushed. I was broken on multiple things. And I ran into an old drug dealing buddy of mine. And he said, man, look, don't worry about that. I can put 5 grand in your pocket every day if you come down and help me. And I went down there, I surveyed the land, used my military knowledge to set up shop. And we had 12 blocks running, uh, drug business, and it was safe. And we set up a system where we didn't do it in front of the neighbors. But we made sure that nobody got evicted in those 12 blocks because we wanted to make
Wow.
sure we knew who was in the neighborhood. And it was funny because it was Bishop Eddie Long who became my spiritual father. He told me already then God was setting you up as pastor. You had 12 blocks where you made sure people had food, people had air conditioning. Ice cream man had a tab for me every day because I didn't want no kid to
Mm-hmm.
feel left out. So if the ice cream man came through the neighborhood, he used to give everybody what they want and give me the tab. There was
Mm-hmm.
no homeless. People was hungry. They could run to the sub shop, come out, give me the tab. I would give a couple dollars to eat. And one of the guys in
Wow.
the neighborhood was a deacon. He saw me and he came and sat beside me and had some peanuts. We was eating. He said, "I see you out here every day. You know, you a smart individual. God has more for you than this." And I was like, "Well, whatever. I ain't trying to hear about that." A couple of weeks
Mm-hmm.
later, I OD'd, and I heard my best friend of them say, "If I die, we're gonna throw him in the alley because we can't make the spot hot." Now he didn't say I'm gonna take him to the hospital and just drop him off or put him in the cab or call an ambulance. They was gonna throw me in the alley, and it broke my heart. And
And
then
these
this
were your
girl,
friends.
they were supposed friends, and
Shut
I heard
up.
that, and that's when I had my intimate contact with God. With God to choose you this day, who you going to serve up to God. If you get me through this, guaranteed, you ain't got to worry about it. So as soon as I came to, I went home, called my mama up. I only had one outfit I could wear. I gave away all my drug stuff. I had one outfit. It was a purple pair of pants, a purple shirt, and a purple tie with purple Stacy Adams. You know,
Come through, Purple.
but here's the prophetic part, because when I went to the church that day, I gave my life to Christ, and the guest preacher said that purple was prophetic of the position that God's going to elevate you in due season. And now I'm a bishop, and I love my purple. So,
Yes.
but but it was due some trials and tribulations, even in the ministry game. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it's hard because I wasn't in the in crowd, and I was shunned by even ministers, even going to ministry school. But I always tell people this: don't stress to be part of the in crowd. God will lead you before great and mighty men. And it was at the
Yeah.
time of remember MySpace? I'm dating
Yes, I
myself.
do remember MySpace. I
I'm
had
dating
MySpace.
myself. Um, I met a gentleman on MySpace, and we would talk all the time. We were good friends. And I told him about, I had, been blackballed by some ministers in town because I wouldn't bow. What happened, we had a major minister with Bishop Noel Jones. He came to town. And
Hmm.
preachers of that era, they told us we were the junior ministers. But again, remember, I'm out the street. I'm working every
Right.
day. I'm working at a clinic. I'm not selling drugs. I'm doing the right thing. They told us when we go to the restaurant to only order off the entree. But again, I still had this persona that I don't need.
Rebellion in you. Yeah.
Yeah, it was rebellious because I was like, I don't like need
Hmm.
nobody to buy me nothing. If I worked all day, so I'm gonna buy me get me a steak. I ordered my steak
Hmm.
dinner, and I told him to get it a separate bill. One of the ministers in the city, he came over and told me I was hard headed, stubborn. You ain't never going to make it. I said, number one, you're not going to talk to a grown man like that at 24 years old. Number two, I'm paying for my own way. I had $100 bill on. And number three,
Hmm.
if this is what ministry is about, kissing hind parts and all that stuff, it ain't for me. So I shared
Hmm.
that with my buddy on MySpace, and he told me, "Well, come to Georgia. I got somebody I want you to meet." Now, remember,
Hmm.
I don't know nothing about Georgia, never been. I had the faith to ask my boss that I take one of the vans. I had that at that time. I was working at a car dealership. He said, "We're going to take it, man." And I
Hmm.
drove through the night with my wife at that time and my best friend, or my minister. We drove through the night. I got to Georgia, and when I pulled up at New Birth, I didn't know what. I'd never seen a church bigger than like maybe a. We pull up there. I'm in the parking lot. I went in there and said, "Hi, I'm here for the ordination." He said, "Ain't no ordination today," so I thought I was being punked or something. Um, the guy came out, he grabbed me and took me into a room. He said, "The church don't know, the bishop didn't want everybody to know." I met Bernice King, I met William Murphy, I met Darwin Hobbs, I met Byron
Wow.
Cage, all these guys. And
Mm.
again, I'm not into the church scene, so I didn't know who they were,
You just
you
look
know.
like who y'all?
Yeah, yeah. I knew Bernice King because of,
Mm.
her father, but the rest of them and Mother Cage and everything. So they brought us out in the middle of the service. And then Bishop Long said the reason he did it that way, because if he said he was doing an ordination, people wouldn't come. So he said, that's normally, oh, I'm not going to come to that. I just want to come to church and get my word. So he did it in front of everybody. It ordained us, gave us our paperwork, and then he gave me like $4,800 to go back to Baltimore and say, set up your ministry and I'll cover you. And I'm like, this guy dude don't even know me. And he gave me $4,800. I mean, I'm like, I
Man.
was I was scared. I was really scared
Yeah.
because there's something going on here. But man, he
Yeah.
sowed into our ministry, and we started off with a wing and a prayer. I hit the street, started giving out flyers. I started a basketball team, and I started getting the guys off the corner to play basketball with me. But one of the parameters was you got to go to church at least twice a month. And we
Hmm.
grew our church from 3 people to about 107 within 90 days. Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just preaching and teaching Bible study. At one time, my aunt hosted Bible study at our house, and we had every bit of 78 people in our house all over the place. And I was
Wow.
just teaching the Bible in my own special way. And my wife said the day at a funeral we attended today that I've spoiled our people because they're so used of my style of preaching that when they go to
Mm-hmm.
traditional places they fall asleep. I tend to preach using music, movies like The Color Purple, illustrations. It's
Yeah.
right, and we have fun. It should be fun,
Mm-hmm.
and my sons love going to church. I mean, they love it. And I don't have to tell them. They up before me with their clothes on. Dad, you ready?
That's all
Ready? Ready?
right.
I guess we never forced our children to go to church. They go because they want to go. I never forced my
Mm-hmm.
wife into a first lady's role. It's her choice in what she want to do. And I let the church know I married her. You did. And you're not going to
Mm-hmm.
force my wife to put that undue pressure on her. In a nutshell, we got 19 minutes and I give you my whole life story, except for the fact I was divorced a couple of times. There's no books out there to tell a man how to get back on top when he falls. There is no book like that. I just poured into this book. It took me 4 years to write. The devil was in my computer because every time I tried to complete it, like the final four chapters, it kept erasing. So one Holy Week, I said, after I preached the seven last word, I stayed up for 2 days. I did not sleep for 2 days, and I finished that book. And
Wow.
I put it out. And since I put it out, self-published, I've had publishing companies reach out to
Mm-hmm.
me trying to buy the rights from me. I've had this, and people say, "You stupid man, you should sell that book." And right now, I'm just building on it. I'm about to start master classes for it, helping people
Mm-hmm.
with through breakup, bad relationships, ending that cycle. I just had to do it because I feel that's a calling. And me and my wife for the last, I say, 12 years have been doing marital counseling with couples and premarital counseling. And I have a stat that I hate, but it's good. 78%
Mm-hmm.
of the people that come to me and her for premarital counseling wind up not getting married. In my 8 sessions, we dig deep. We dig deep, and I want to find out your real why you want to get married. And then once I add the Bible to it and we share our experiences, a lot of them say, well, maybe we're not ready for this because we take we take the glitz and glamour off of it. You know,
Yeah.
one month after my wife, me or I was married, she died with breast cancer. You know,
Mm.
I don't have any biological children, so I found out right then that I would not have any biological children on this side of Zion. That's a stone. That's a stunt. I heard God whisper in my ear, "Help the women." So I organized just a women's empowerment session I called Detox, and we brought women from all
Mm.
over the city together. And in that instance, I saw in my spirit while sitting in the pulpit that a woman wanted to kill herself. She said, after I
Mm.
leave this place, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna die. I even saw that she left her children with her sister, and she said she was tired of going through. So I asked the people there. I said, "All you beautiful ladies," and I had called up three of my favorite singers, and they sang and they led praise and worship in a phenomenal time. I said, "I need every lady in here to dig deep. It's not for me. I don't want, but there's a need that God needs to meet." We gathered up thousands of dollars and put it in a big manila envelope. And I saw the woman in my spirit and I said, "You come in." And I said, "You plan on going home today and killing yourself because you lost your job, you stressed out, your man that left you, all that." And God said, "You
Mm-hmm.
shall live and not die." And we gave her the envelope full of money. She just passed out. She literally fainted. And she came to and said, "I had planned this and this and this." So out of that ceremony, young lady came to us and said, "There's a child about to go into the system that I think you should, y'all that need to be with you," which was at the time, we adopted the baby, took the baby home, but we didn't know that if we had when we met, if we had started having sex, that he is the exact age.
Wow. Look at
Yep.
God.
But I wouldn't have known that if I didn't wasn't obedient to God and had that service
Mm-hmm.
that helped. I was so focused on helping women, encouraging them, and then my wife went and had a mastectomy that Monday after that Saturday. But out of that,
Mm.
it forced her to get well to go pick up our baby. We picked him up on Good Friday and brought
Mm-hmm.
him home, and he's been with us ever since. A few years later, biological family, which we kept in contact with, requested to have him come to a birthday party, and they took him and they never brought him home. So for 4.5 months, he was missing, and I was trying to get help. It was on Facebook. A lot of people remember that. I was reaching out to people trying to help me find my baby boy, and we had people all over the DMV looking for my boy. And
Wow.
I cried so much that I couldn't cry anymore. My animals in my house were crying. The son was crying. I felt so helpless. And then the Holy Ghost, man, I'm gonna tell y'all, this is crazy. I said, I remembered something in the spirit. I woke up and I said, I said to my wife, I said, do you remember the tag number of the people that took them? And you, because she had been harassed by them, because she had been to court to try to get an ex parte against them, harassing her, and she remembered, and we found them in DC, and we was going through the thing where I don't care if you're a bishop, apostle, it don't matter. The system is not created to help us. We found out it was a civil matter, so even though the court here said we had legal right to the baby, that they wouldn't reinforce it. As a matter of fact, I almost got locked up in Prince Charles County because the sheriff told me to get out of his county or he was going to lock me up. So I was upset. I was like, yeah. So I wrote a letter on my bishop letterhead telling the judge, everything. I just laid it out. Look, I'm not getting no help. I don't have any faith in the system. And immediately she sent out a thing saying, I want all of y'all in my court. And my son came home 2 days before Thanksgiving, and for about a few months, we had the courts on our side, public on our side. We were able to adopt him a few months later because the attorney that I used to be adopted botched it. He didn't finish it, so it was a blessing. All things work out to those who love the Lord and keep His word.
How did you come up with your title, Grieve Easy, though?
It's an oxymoronic statement. You're to grieve, and this is what we teach our boys. We tell our boys, stop crying. We tell people it's going to be okay. Or we tell them, if you really believe in God, you shouldn't be going through that. That's a lie. That's a lie. Because you read the Bible, even God grieved. Christ grieved. They say he was sad when he found out his buddy Lazarus was died. I want you to grieve, but I don't want it to be to a point that it kills you. Experience it, learn your lesson, and because you're going to live through it. It's not the book wasn't written to tell you how to do it. It's a why book, and I share my experience. I'm very candid. As a matter of fact, that's another book that caused me to fall out with a lot of ministers in my city because they said it was too graphic for a minister, a man of God, to write something that transparent. This right here is going to make you look this way. I could care less how I look.
It's the truth. Yeah,
it's the truth.
It's the truth.
It's really, and I said to the point, I learned this from selling drugs. Before you get somebody addicted to your drug or get a new client, you give them a tester. So what I did was I shared my first chapter. When you go to the website, you can get the first chapter for free. Everybody, and I'm blessed, that was anointed. Everybody who reads the first chapter buys the book. People be reading the book, and I was on a bus one day, and a lady was reading my book. I never told her I was the author, although I'm on the cover. And she was talking to the book. She said, I know that's right. Oh, go out. She was just talking. And then members of my church, when I first had the book, I gave it to them. And they started reading and started talking to the book. And then people just started calling me from around the country like, hey, and this book is old, really. I released it in 95, but it's been in high rotation. I re-released it, and then I did it as an ebook. And my ebooks every month, people are buying the ebook. They're buying the ebook, but my coup de grace is I'm auditioning voice actors to do an audio book. I want an audio book out there.
Yeah, you should do that. And I love how you make sure you tell people that this is not a how-to book.
No. I just list out my journey. I give you a foundation. Every chapter has questions at the end that only you can answer. And if you answer it honestly, you're going to get a foundation and some healing and deliverance. So, and what happens, I wrote the whole book and I let my English teacher read it. And he said, what would make this book perfect? I said, what? He said, questions at the end. So I put questions at the end as if it was a workbook for people to work out their own problem. And it started ministering to so many people. I can't say their names because of disclosure, but I had some big name pastors reach out to me that were going through all kinds of marital issues, and they read my book. They did the process, they did their homework and they testified. And I said, only if these guys would, like, okay, let's endorse the book. I don't need you to tell everybody your business. Just endorse the book. Because I told my wife, I will not sell. God told me, do not sell the rights to this book. He said, this is generational wealth. And he said, just like I took you before great and mighty men, I'll do the same thing in due season. Now, due season ain't always tomorrow or the next week. So I started preparing myself before you reached out to me to do a master's class to help people. There are a lot of people that went through breakups and divorces who, and there's no holistic services out there. You go to church, and they go through this thing where, boom, 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 boom. My thing is right now, I want to be your friend. And I've been counseling people for years, helping them go through those hard moments, taking them chapter by chapter, my book as a lesson. And by the time we finish our 90-day cycle, man, those people are doing great. They're doing great. Are they fully whole? No. 90 days ain't going to heal your heart completely, but they have the tools and the practices in place for 90 days to get past that, so they can live and reinvent themselves. A lot of times when we have that breakup, we stop living. I told them, get a new hairstyle, trade that old car in, get rid of everything, and I was just doing this thing and it became great. I mean, I love helping people rediscover life after a relationship because we lose ourselves in relationships, especially our women. You guys are nurturers by nature.
Yeah.
And
and sometimes we're so busy to quit to conform to make this man happy. And then all of a sudden you get tired of conforming. And now the man is like, what's wrong with you? And then that's when they'll start bumping heads. And that's where the trouble come in. And like I've told like people before, because I've been married before, and a lot of it wasn't, I'm gonna say it wasn't all him or them, because I was married more than one. A lot of it was me because I was having problems with learning who I was. And then when I figured out who I was, then God sent me somebody who will be compatible to my goofiness and let me be goofy and let me be serious or let me be weepy or girly or sensitive or tomboy or whatever mood I feel like being in. And it was okay. And it's a blessing when you can be you with somebody else and they can be them with you, and y'all could be so opposite, but it's okay. Or y'all could be alike and it's okay. But y'all are good for each other. It's a blessing.
Excuse me. I want to make you laugh. Okay. My ex-wife went to see my now wife and told her, if you want to know anything about him, blah, 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 I can tell you. I had, using the life lessons that I wrote down in the book that I live by, I had become a total different person. And my wife says, I'm crazy at home. I'm not the bishop at home. I'm Matt. I'm crazy Matt. I wrestle with my kids on the sofa. I chase the dog around the house. I'm always joking and laughing. My wife goes in the kitchen. I go behind her playing around, smack on the butt and stuff like that. My kids be laughing. It's like our house is like a sitcom. And if people can't, and when people meet me and my wife, it's like, we can't believe 12 years y'all been together and y'all still goofy. I said, because I learned that book told me I can grieve. But then after you're grieving, comes your victory. And, I got the girl of my dreams. I met my wife. I saw my wife on the bus in 1988. Oh, she was fine, boy. I got on the bus. I had just finished smoking some marijuana too. I got on the bus and I saw her, and she said she couldn't talk to me. I was like, why can't you talk to me? And she was like, you a bad boy. I said, all right, well, I'm gonna marry you one day. And I went to the back of the bus and hung out with my buddy. 20-something years later, we met at my cousin's wedding. And I had just finished preaching at Pentecostal Assemblies of the World Youth Conference. And I saw her, she was behind my mother and father. And I said, oh my God, the Lord is my shepherd. He know what I want. I said, wait a minute. That girl looked familiar. She had a nice tan and everything. She was all buttery, looking all good. I said, ooh. A lot of women in the church knew me because I was on television at the time. My ministry was on the cable. I have got a 30 minutes on cable, so my ministry was out there. So those women was in there. They was on me for like a cheap suit. But I didn't want none of
But
them. I
for
saw
no
what I
reason,
wanted.
yeah, they was in it for the glamour and the fame and whatnot. Yeah, the buffoonery of it all. But go
So I
ahead.
sat down beside her, and then all my aunts, I had like 8 aunts, they all surrounded me. And then my aunt Ann, the one who trained me in ministry, she said, the Spirit of God said, that's going to be your wife. I said, Aunt Ann, I don't even know that woman. She might be married right now. So all my aunts started liking and everything. And then we went to the reception. I gave her some candy. I didn't know her name was Candy. I said, you want some candy? She said, how you know my name?
Aww.
But here's the crazy part. I know her whole family. Her uncle worked with me when I was a correction officer. Her brother and me had become real good friends because he was the manager of the GameStop. Her aunt, because she was a school teacher for my cousin. My cousin's husband would go see her when she was working at the tax place. And then her other cousin was in the military with me. So I knew her family, but I never knew her. And her father was a police officer, and he chased me and my buddies off the corners and stuff.
Wow.
So isn't that crazy?
Full circle.
So, when I got with her, it was awesome, man. We've been through breast cancer. She had a brain tumor.
Oh wow.
We've been through everything, but I wouldn't trade it all in for the world because it made us better. She's my ride or die. And it's been great. When it comes to the relationship, man, I tell all y'all ain't see relationship. If you be yourself and try to stop being with everybody else trying to make you, you'll enjoy your relationship. And
absolutely.
That's what we do.
Stop trying to be something that you're not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like surprising her. I always like surprising her. I surprised her on Mother's Day with a brand new car. I snuck around and bought a new wedding set. I like surprising her. She likes surprising me, and we just like that. We love one another. And the boys, my kids all love. Oh my God, we all.
That sounds like me and my husband, because he'll come home from work and I'll be standing in the door and I'll just start dancing in the doorway. He'll be like, do you even care if they look? And I'm like, no, let them see what black love look like.
Exactly. You know what? That's what it has to be. And and you said that, you really, when we talked first, when you first connected, I started really pulling out, digging in the crates, pulling out my notes and stuff, because I said, you know what, God, I want to be used, and I don't want to be a normal preacher. I want to be able to sit down in a room full of people going through hell and still show them the light of heaven.
Right.
If I may not can repair your relationship, but I can help you repair you. The last chapter of my book came from Jay-Z. It didn't come from a gospel song. It didn't come from a preaching. It came from Jay-Z, and it's entitled,
come on now,
Let Me Reintroduce Myself. My name is, and at the end, it's rediscovering who you are, the new you. And and I teach people to do the homework, like Ayana Van Zandt said, do the homework, discover how you got here. I ask strategic questions that break people down, and it really breaks you down to say, was I really in love or just infatuated? The relationship was over a long time ago. I'm just holding on to it because I'm scared to try something new. These are questions we have to ask.
I'm comfortable, man. I'm comfortable in this, and I'm scared to be uncomfortable. Yeah.
So I'm getting ready for a big relaunch. I'll let you know what's going on. We're going to do a mastermind session. I'm going to have hundreds of people on the Zoom session. We're going to get down and dirty. We're going to create healing and wholeness throughout the land and celebrate Black love. I want to have a big conference somewhere at a resort where we can give out free events. They can come out and sit down and enjoy themselves and see Black love personified. Black love. Okay. Right.
Real genuine. This is not not this one, but this ain't the Cosby Show. This is just some for real.
More like Martin. More like Martin.
More like Martin. Yeah, more like Martin love. Yeah. Because like I said, he just be looking at me like, he said, you just don't know when to turn it off, do you? He'll be like, nope. And I'll just start back up all over again.
Exactly. My wife says, and she'll tell you, man, she's like, this guy is crazy. I keep telling her, I said, he's not the bishop right now. He my son's friend. And it's funny, it helped with our blended family because it's weird. She said it's weird because me and her ex, the one she was dating when we met on the bus, it was it. Me and him are
Mm-hmm.
good. We're good. We're good. We both got so many similarities. We both were in the car business and everything. So when we meet, we'll disappear, go off talking, and she like it's. She said it's weird to see your ex and your now cool. I said because people have placed so much toxicity in exes and baby daddies that we can't
I hate that
mature.
term. I absolutely
Right.
hate that term. Baby daddy and baby mama.
Yeah.
I hate
Yeah.
those two terms because it was like that wasn't your baby daddy when y'all was together, and that
Right.
wasn't your baby mama when y'all was together. That was
Exactly.
my
I said,
boo. That was my hun. And I'm like, no, that's my children's father, and
right,
I'm your children's mother. Don't give me that title. Don't do
right.
that.
So we're mature. When
Yeah,
my
yeah.
granddaughter was born, I don't have steps in my family. The only steps you got is the one down to the basement and up the steps. I don't call children stepchildren because
Me
they
either.
put division between you and them. They are all my children. When your wife became me, we had the Esther vow thing. Your people
Mm-hmm.
shall be my people. Your God will be
Mm-hmm.
my God. When you lodge, I lodge. That's how we get
Mm.
down. And
Okay.
so those children are mine. My daughter, she knows good and well. She ever needed anything, she's been blessed with multiple fathers who love her. My sons know,
Mm-hmm.
I don't care where they came from. They my boys. They are 100% my
Right.
DNA. You can't hang around me and not become part of what I am. And I never told them to call me dad, but they do. And I really don't. I don't have steps. They are all my children. Sometimes I tell you, my wife, I'm a little possessive with my children because they
Mm-hmm.
mine. I, you know,
Yeah.
they mine, and I will die for them. And it's
Yeah.
not a,
Because we're
you
like a
know,
Brady Bunch family too, my husband's children and his previous wife, she passed away, God rest her soul. Their children together are, well, their families are my family, and vice versa. And I'm like, I will go to jail for any of y'all. Don't
all
think
of
I
them.
won't. Don't think I
You don't
won't.
know.
And I'll be like Samuel Jackson. Yeah, I did it.
Uh-huh. I told them. I
And
said the army didn't train me to be who I am for nothing.
listen, I told my kids, I said, y'all just don't know. Mommy ain't always been this. Mommy was a little rough. She's like, oh, we know you're a crazy person. I'm like, long as y'all know.
Right.
but
Right.
but Jesus redeemed me. But there's still,
Hmm.
but I'm still a work in progress, Lord.
People don't know who you are until they know that you really care about them. They don't know nothing about you. And what I do share is the reality of my life. There is no
Mm-hmm.
trial or tribulation I didn't go through that I'm ashamed of.
Mm-hmm.
It was, the Bible said it was good I was afflicted to see the salvation of the Lord. All those things make me who I am today. It makes me appreciate my wife. It makes, at the time when she was going through cancer, when she went through brain tumor, I had our little one. He was little at the time. He would go to work with me. I was finance manager at a car dealership. He's in the
Mm-hmm.
swing. He's in the crib, and I'm working. I
Oh.
took care of him. I did all that. I made sure
Mm-hmm.
our oldest son, would go to school and he get his needs and he take his shower and he get his homework. We did that. I did that to make. I told her. She said when she came home, she felt kind of bad because we had such a bond that she felt left out. I said, no, you're not left out, Queen. You still me. You get well, and then you can assume these duties later. But while you
Mm-hmm.
getting well, you got a man that's going to handle his business.
Ain't
And
that it?
anything ever happened to her, I told her, I said, anything ever happened to her, I'm gonna keep these babies together, and we're gonna make sure they're good. And you want to fight them. You're not gonna take these children from me. So don't even worry about it. Just get well. And I mean
That's
that.
right.
I just mean that from the bottom of my heart. And because of that love for kids, we started our football program with the Baltimore Football Academy Wolfpack. And it's not a knock on everybody, but I just looked at football leagues and little leagues around the city. It's just, it's not where I've seen our Caucasian brothers and sisters program. So I got together some like-minded businessmen and we created the Baltimore Football Academy. It's a
Mm-hmm.
mentorship academy because we found out a lot of kids, a lot of our young men after football season would get in trouble. They were stealing cars, they were doing all kinds of stuff because they didn't have that supervision. So we created this program to be a 365-day a year program where weekly we get the kids and we do things with them off football. We use football as the drawing mechanism and to teach, community and teamwork, self-worth and self-discipline. But we want to
Mm-hmm.
create a family with these kids Not only for that, they get scholarships. We maintain their academics. We do a lot of things with our children to open them up to life just outside of Baltimore and all the horror stories they see on television. One of my biggest problems today is coaches. I got to get coaches that meet the vision because I don't need coaches who trying to live vicariously through our children. Mentors who are good role models who don't look at this, a loss is just a loss, but we want to keep these children focused in our community. I'm tired of everybody saying these kids are bad or this generation is bad and all that stuff. It's only bad because we sit back and point our fingers, How do we turn our city around? Well, you give me 100 kids and have them part of our program. I didn't ask people for money. I just trusted God. And we didn't have no money in our bank account. And right now we got equipment coming from Germany because the coach in Germany heard about us, one of our board members, and they're sending us equipment and stuff. But, I want more kids to come out ages 6 through 13. I want more coaches to come out. If you coached before, you didn't. We do background checks and everything. We just want to give back to our children in the community because they deserve it. I mean, they're the ones who deserve it.
Yeah. And one of the quotes that you have on your Facebook is man creates his own conditions. Is that something that you push on these young men in your group or on your team?
Yes. I live by that. People can say, well, life is this way because the white man did this and this. Man create their own conditions. If you buy into that, you become that. But I believe I'm bigger than what somebody else can do. If you won't hire me, I'll make up a job. That's how I look at everybody. If you
they want to blame their color, their family history, the past relationships on what's going on in their present day. If it's your present day, you're doing this. It has nothing to do with back then. This is you now.
That is my moniker. I want that on my tag. Man creates his own conditions because, again, a lot of the situations that I learned from or which formed me was the conditions I created. Conditions come from choices. It comes from choices. You have to choose the right way. Choose what you're going to do. Every choice you make has an impact. Therefore, you create the condition. If you want more money, the first thing is I always ask people, they say, well, I want more money. I said, so what are you supposed to do? Get another job? No. The first thing I need you to do is educate yourself on money. Learn how to budget. Learn how to do these things, credit. And then God says in his word that, he will, if you're faithful over the few things, he'll make you rule over much more. In order for you to be faithful, you have to have knowledge of it. Most of us, as soon as we got them stimulus checks, they went to Vegas.
Yeah.
I'm seeing people, and then you broke. You don't have life insurance. You don't have savings accounts. You're living on a wing and a prayer, and it's no
Your
longer.
Bills are still 2 months behind.
And if you die, guess what? GoFundMe gonna bury you. No, it's old. You spend your money, and you want to spend mine. And what happens is wealth is attracted to a wise person. Wealth is attracted to wisdom. Wise people. Who's in moderation and self-discipline and things of that nature. So I told people, that's why I say man create their own condition. You want more money, educate yourself. Change your lifestyle. So I love it. I just love it.
Now, what's next for you besides a lot? Because you already got a lot. But what else is going on with you? What's next for you in the midst? Because I know y'all collaborating.
Oh, yeah. This football thing has been taking a lot, but what's next for me is to build a community-based ministry here in Baltimore where our focus is on the people. I don't want you to do choir anniversary. I think we do so much in church that it irritates me as a preacher.
The building fund.
Oh my God. How you going that building fund been building, even after we got the new church, we got a new building fund. And that's illegal, right?
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? It's illegal.
No.
Once you built the building and stuff and you allocated the funds, you can't be telling like another building fund. People use that building, they use it as the budget fund. No. It's only used as a fundraiser to get the building to where it needs to be. And then that once you get it, it should go down to a zero at such time as you need to build another. But I just want to build, I have food co-op programs and stuff. And I just want to be a church that the doors are always open. I want a warehouse attached to my church so we can put clothes, food, baby formula, everything that's needed in the house by the people, that they can come by and get it. If a house burns down, my ministers are dispatched to you. They can go in our warehouse and get everything you need. That's what I want to be known for. We
Yeah.
send all this stuff to Africa, and God bless those people. They need it. But what about the urban ministries we have here, where we have homeless people under bridges and stuff like that? I
Just
want to
around
be
your
that.
corner. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're
So I
right.
want that's what's next for me. My new ministry that God gave me is called Rock Nation Ministries, and it's like an acronym. Rock is Revelation of Christ's Kingdom.
Okay.
Rock Nation Ministries. But at this present time, while things are being put together, we are assisting my mom's church in recovering from COVID. I'm
Hmm.
there until such time as God called me forward. But I'm just happy to be utilized. I'm trying to give back.
Now, where can people find you?
They can find me on Facebook or Instagram. You can type in Bishop Matthew
You can
Bradby. You can
Google
type
them.
in.
I
You
did.
can Google me. Yeah, I'm all over the place on Google. I'm on YouTube. I didn't know until I Googled myself. It's not the realest experience when I Googled myself. I said, "Good God, I got everything on there."
I
You
scared
know.
myself. I said, "Oh, if I'm trying to hide, they gonna find me, Jesus."
Yeah, that's why I say, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. You can find me all over. You get, my hashtag is hashtag BMEB2. You can find me there,
Mm.
or just type in Matthew Bradby. You can find me anywhere on there. You can talk to Google and say my name, and I pop up. And I say again, was next. We're gonna do this master's class for real. Breathe
Okay.
easy,
Let me
breathe
know.
easy,
I would love to
and
share it on my page and
oh
stuff. Let
yeah,
me know.
yeah, because we
Yeah.
got so. I mean, everybody know at least 2 or 3 people that's going through divorce or breakup. With 56% of the marriages in divorce right now, I believe that I want to do two things. I want to heal those who broke it and stop it before it starts. If
Yeah.
we can teach people holistically what to look for in the mate and how to go about the dating. We don't know about dating. We don't know about courtship. We don't know what to look for in a spouse besides a big booty and a smile for a man. He got to have a job, girl. He got to, you got to
Nice
look for people.
car.
Nice car.
Yeah.
That don't mean nothing. You know, you
Hmm.
need to learn what to look for in a mate. And each individual person, I give tests out. I have a spiritual gifts assessment test. I also give
Hmm.
out personality tests to people so you can find out what type of personality are you, where you come up on the spectrum. You know what to look for. Two type A's ain't gonna work out. Two bossy people ain't gonna work out because y'all want to fight all the
No.
time.
Yeah.
It has to be that even kill. And we just need to know ourselves. So it's some testing I put people through, and then some coaching, some counseling, and then I'm blessed to say in my 28 years of ministry, only 2 divorces in all the marriages I've done. So that just
That's
we're
all
doing
right.
something right.
And you know what? I love the fact that you're not just talking to marriages that break up, but couples that break up. Because I think everybody forget that there are couples who are in, I don't care if it's 6 months or 6 years, and they break up. It's traumatizing to them. And everybody's like, well, you'll be all right. That just wasn't your husband or that just wasn't your wife. Move on. It's not, their heart still got broken.
And in church, I don't allow one spouse to pull me up to talk about the next one. Like I had a woman come and say, Pastor, I'm going through, I want to talk to you. I said, no problem. We'll schedule an appointment and bring your
Hmm.
spouse. And I've won more men I've attract more men to my ministry than women. I don't know why it happens, but I give honor and respect to our men. I don't talk to a man's woman without him. I feel it's a sacredness. And if you're married to this woman, I don't, as a man or even as a pastor, have the right to superimpose myself just because she's one of my feet. You need to be present when I talk to your woman, and I make sure my wife is there
Hmm.
well to help. She helps with interpretations too, and it normally calms people down too when they start seeing my wife and she starts explaining. We don't teach this stuff; we live this stuff. And then the men's
Right.
like, why, when can I come to the church? So I'm readily available for our men as well and our boys.
Last question. Here we go. Um, if you could have any song, which I think I already know the answer to this, but if you could have any song be your theme song when you walk into a room, what would it be and why?
Made the work I've done speak for me.
Oh,
You know, yeah, yeah, yeah,
okay. You surprised me
yeah.
because I thought you was gonna say who Jay-Z.
Oh yeah, that one. Made the work I've done. I say, when I battle. It's so many great, songs. When I'm dressed from total head to toe, I'm a classic man. We playing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a
Oh, okay.
classic man. I walk in
Yeah.
there, I be looking fresh.
You walk in
But then,
sideways. I get
oh my,
it.
so when boy, I be walking there. I be doing the baby dance. I walk on that joint like I come up there, But if anything, I say really that song will be made the work I've done speak for me. Not
Mm-hmm.
after my death, because we always think about after death. I want the legacy songs to be sang now, because I want you to look at my life. Yeah, you know how they give the achievement awards to Puffy and them when they're alive. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
want to see. I want to see the school that we built, my Christian Academy, built now. You got, we have ROTC, we have a trade setup. I want to see that now while I'm alive
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
seeing it produce good Christian boys and girls in every marketplace arena. So may the work I've done would be good. There's so many songs that could play from the hip hop or neo
Mm-hmm.
soul or R&B. But in a
Mm-hmm.
nutshell, yeah, that would be my theme song right there.
This was such a joy. It's
Yes,
such
it
an
was.
honor. I hope that I can have you back one
Yes,
day soon.
yes.
Okay. And if you got anything, I'll be more than happy to jump on board.
Oh my goodness! See, you might have started me and my wife podcasting. We just started a podcast a little while ago. It was called the
Mm,
Bradbys, and we was talking about marriage and we had a couple episodes. We actually have a couple episodes on YouTube, but we're
okay.
going to get back to that because we share a couple stuff and we goofy and we laugh and everybody laughs at us. I think we need to
Hmm.
start that again because it was really hit. We
I think
got
y'all should.
okay.
Because y'all
You
got a
encourage
story to
me.
tell. Y'all got a
Oh,
story to tell for sure.
definitely.
All right. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Worldly Church Girl. And if you haven't already, hit that subscription button. You don't want to miss another episode. And did you know Worldly Church Girl has gone live? That's right, Worldly Church Girl has gone live. You can catch episodes just like this on YouTube, Facebook, even LinkedIn. For more information, go to www.worldlychurchgirl.com to find out more. And as always, thanks for joining your one and only Worldly Church Girl.